Okay, hello everybody. David McGuffin here, and welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. Leslie and I were just talking a few moments ago and saying this is our 33rd episode of Travel Talk Tuesday. We started back December 1st last year and have been going strong every week since. So thank you for joining us tonight, and for those of you who join us other weeks as well, whether it be on Zoom or on Facebook Live. I also want to bring to your attention that we have the whole, all 33 episodes chronicled at davidmcguffin.com/TTT for Travel Talk Tuesday. So all those recorded episodes are there, and they're also on my Facebook page at facebook.com exploring Europe / exploring Europe. But now we're here tonight. I'm still in Florida. I'm right here in my kitchen, and I've been working away the last couple of days, doing a little cooking, getting prepared for my upcoming trip to Italy, which is going to be about actually 2 weeks from last night. I'm flying over to Rome, and we've got 2 tours in Italy coming up. And so that brings me to my next point about, gosh, we've probably heard, some of you who are attuned to traveling have heard about the European Union yesterday met and issued some advisories or recommendations for their member states or member countries about travel with Americans traveling there during the time of COVID-19. And for me, it's no different than it has been all summer long. I flew to Italy in June. I had to take a COVID-19 test, and at that point it was a PCR test before I flew to Italy. I took one at the airport in Atlanta again, and I took one at the Rome airport before I was able to enter into the country of Italy. Now Italy has just put out the requirements that you need to have a negative antigen or PCR test to enter their country beginning tomorrow, September 1st, and it needs to be taken 72 hours before you land in Italy. So no big deal. And again, I want to just encourage you that it makes it a whole lot easier if you're traveling and you have your CDC card. If you're vaccinated and you have your CDC card right here in your passport and can pull it out and show it all the time. When I was in Ireland a few weeks ago, I couldn't go indoors and dine without showing my card, without putting my contact information, my telephone number, and my name down. And then I was able to go in. But if you were not vaccinated in Ireland at that time, you couldn't go inside and dine. You had to dine outside. So other than that small little change in Italy only, from what I understand as of today, there's no other changes to go into any other country in the European Union. So I know there's some of you going with me on trips to Italy in the next month. And so the hurdle you have to jump over is get a antigen test or a PCR test at least 72 hours before you arrive in Italy. And so you can get those at pharmacies. You can sign up online and buy some of these Bionox tests along with the eMeds doctors, and get all that taken care of. And that's what I'm going to be doing as well. So I think everything's good to go. The world's opening up, it's still open, and we're looking forward to traveling soon to Italy. One other little thing I want to tell you about is passports. So I have a passport, and I've had one for years and years and years. This one's old and used. It's my current passport. When people look at it and see all those stickers, say, "Oh, you've been around." If you thumb through all the pages, they're almost all filled up. But the problem is this, that I preach all the time. My passport expires in April the 21st of 2022. I'm going to be in Italy until October 22nd, 2021. And that is 5 months and 30 days before my passport expires. The rule is it has to be valid for 6 months before it expires. So I've got to jump through some hurdles in the next couple of weeks and get my passport reissued at a passport agency here in the United States. So thankfully today I was able to call and make an appointment at a passport agency in Dallas, Texas, where I'll be 3 days before I travel out of the United States. And so I'll have a brand new, spanking new passport with no stickers or anything on it when I arrive in Italy on the 13th, 14th of next month. So keep that in mind when you're traveling. Look at the expiration date, and I preach it all the time. But I just think that I spent a whole year last year in 2020 being in La La Land, not thinking about, I wasn't going anywhere, and therefore not thinking anything about getting my passport renewed. And then all of a sudden, June this year, travel opened up, we had trips, and I was going. Thankfully, I was able to get that worked out. So you guys who are going to be with me in Italy soon, hey, I'll be there. I'll have my new passport with me too. Okay, tonight we're going to deal totally with my favorite hill town in Tuscany, Volterra. So I've got a whole episode on that. I did an episode on it last week, but I'm going to continue with that. And we're really going to deal with the family I know, the family known as DelDuca. And Genuino and Ivana are the husband and wife team that have owned the restaurant that I've been to since, gosh, I was looking this up. It was 2006, I believe, the first time I arrived at their restaurant. And I've known them. We stay at their agriturismo. We go to their restaurant. We are really good friends. Their daughter, Claudia, is also very well involved in everything. So that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. So let me share my screen again, and I'll talk over all of this. And that's just a map to show you where Volterra is in relation to everything else. The major town in Tuscany is Florence. This is some drone footage I shot back in July, flying over the vineyards of Marcompo. Now, Marcompo is a farm, an agriturismo, which takes in guests as well. A farm located about 10 minutes outside of the hill town of Volterra. And as you can see, it's a very arid climate, except for where the grapes are growing. And these grapes are growing naturally. They're not watered, and they're not irrigated artificially. But it takes a big deal to grow these grapes. And now they've expanded over the last few years until they have, I would say about 23 acres of vineyards on their property. This is the agriturismo. Their house, and the family lives in this house. And the big part of it you see right here in the foreground is the part they rent out, and it's totally separated from the family homes. And there are 3 hotel type rooms and 3 apartment type rooms. This is flying over their vineyards, the Merlot, the oldest vines on the property. They're Merlot grapes right here. You can see me in my blue shirt off to the left, barely running my drone. But we do wine tastings here, and we also have our villa tour here for 7 nights. We stay at this place. You can see these fields in the background are totally brown. That's because they're loaded with wheat, and the wheat has already been harvested. But in the summertime, in the springtime, it's all green. At Marcompo, Claudia, who is the daughter of the family, that she operates cooking classes for us all. And here is one of the classes we had in 2019. We're making fresh pasta.
Big change. I'm surprised. I would have been there another hour.
And that's what the final product looks like when it actually gets pressed and the cheese is put in and everything else. So I thought I would give that a little experiment the last couple of days. This is a previous class that back in the day, we did this in their restaurant. And this is Charlotte, Beth on the left and John on the right at one of my tours. And we're, Beth is going to do the pasta in the Vessero pasta machine. Same process though.
Oh, you can't even go to the yeah, mine is very big.
And this is from way back in
This
the
is
day.
David McGuffin, and on June 15th, we found ourselves at the Ristorante DelDuca in Volterra, Italy. Husband and wife chefs Genuino and Ivana took us on a 5-hour adventure of cooking and feasting on the menu we had prepared. My group agrees that this was a fantastic experience for us all. The education, food, wine, and the ambiance combined to make this an evening to remember. Next time you're in Tuscany, don't forget to visit Volterra and the Ristorante DelDuca.
But if you have the machine, it's better. It's very tiring.
So this is in the kitchen there at Del Duca.
Very thick.
Claudia's in the black shirt, and Ivana, her mother, is in the white chef's coat. Everybody else is a part of my tour. This particular day, we I think we were making pappardelle pasta. I'll let Claudia and myself talk.
Never gets her fingers?
No, for the moment.
No, ma le dita si mettono così perché picchiano così.
She's saying she puts her knuckles out there and you cut across her knuckles, not across the finger.
It's to be inside the part.
Uh-huh.
This part has to.
Ah.
Pasta.
And this is the pasta for pasta and fagioli.
Which we know as pasta visual, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Opla! Se non ti scambia.
This is a wild boar, half of a wild boar. Genuino, Claudia's father, is chopping it up, and it's going to be put in a pot and boiled on with red wine and vegetables to make this sauce to go on the pappardelle pasta.
Visto che la l'acqua si soffre tu.
Do the video. So what do you think? We can talk on this. What do you think about this cooking
I
class?
think this is just one of the highlights of this trip.
Yeah,
Where it's not the highlight.
yeah, it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no way to describe the smells we have at the kitchen, though. You know, we have video, we have photos. We're going.
Well, then you need smell or
Yeah,
whatever.
we're going to need to taste and smell.
Okay, tell them that they can smell the garlic.
And 150 grams of sugar.
Rosemary, for
All
sure.
fresh grown in his own garden.
Yeah.
The 3 different dishes are going on at this time.
And then
Here
he's
I'm filming
adding
the
flour into it to thicken it up to make it
Chingali,
cream
the
sauce.
wild boar.
And now
So they're also
they're
making
adding
the
vegetable
fresh
broth
pasta and a
to cover the
vegetable
meat.
heart
So it,
and a stuffed
now comes
veal.
to consistency.
And it's all at one time.
So now we're back to the Chingali, still cooking.
Now, can you get wild boar year round?
Yes. But you know, there are periods it's not possible to have the wild boar. So this is because they are
Se voglio bere qualcosa,
the
So
small.
Claudia is explaining that they are wild boars, so you hunt them during hunting season. And there's a time in the spring where the boar are born and you can't hunt them. But the rest of the year you can.
In some periods, not all the year.
He's making those little incisions to keep it
And then we're doing
pulling out
some
too much when he cooks it.
stuffed veal with vegetables, asparagus, seasoning.
So we put the asparagus and the green, and then we roll them.
It's like busciolone.
And when they roll those up, that's what they're called.
So I was telling you about before.
Rollini.
You use this, but you use the Italian breadcrumb, the eggs. Ecco i fogli di menta per
Vado a prendere.
Francia.
Che sono anche molto semplici, Grazie. Money.
Someone asked, Marcia, who asked about, do we require you to be vaccinated? No, that is not a requirement for us. As long as you jump through the hoops, get the test, and meet the requirements for entering the country, that's perfectly fine with us.
And enjoy the meal.
Okay. Okay, so we're eating the product of our...
So you can see this is a grand feast.
Okay, who's talking? Glenn, you're talking about the torte?
I didn't do it either.
You're supposed to be talking. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. It didn't have anything to do with making the torte because I was on the pasta, but oh my God, this is wonderful.
Well, I haven't tried it yet, but,
Well, tell us what it is, Glenn, real quick.
well, what it is zucchini and red onions and olive oil and butter, and I'm gonna take a taste right now.
Okay, try it.
Aromatic herbs. Cheese, eggs.
Delicious. Very good, isn't it? Oh, is it awesome?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
it's wonderful.
Eggs. Oh.
I'd marry the chef when he's...
So that
Hi,
inspired me
David
to work in the
McGuffin
kitchen.
here. This is my very
This weekend.
easy and simple recipe for fresh homemade ricotta cheese. It's pretty simple. It's 3 parts whole milk and 1 part heavy cream. So in this case, I have 3 cups whole milk, 1 cup heavy cream. I've put in a half a teaspoon of sea salt to add seasoning, and also 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. The milk, the cream, and the sea salt are placed in a pot and brought up to just below a boil, about 190 degrees Fahrenheit. So when the temperature reaches 190, turn off the heat, and then put in 3 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And then give it a stir and let it rest for 5 minutes. Over here to the colander, which I have lined with cheesecloth, and I'm going to gently pour this in, and you can see the curds in a way are already forming. And then that's it. I'm gonna let that sit for an hour and it'll be nice and creamy. And if you let it sit for 2 hours, it'll have a little harder consistency and you can put it in your refrigerator and keep it for a while. All right, so the ricotta here has set for just about an hour now. And you can see it's set up pretty well. And pretty good soft consistency. Tastes pretty good, much better than the kind you buy in a tub at the grocery store. I'm gonna let it sit here another 30 minutes or so and then put it in the refrigerator. I think I'm just gonna do this. It's ready to go in the refrigerator and the cheesecloth. I'll take it out tomorrow and it'll be great to go. So like I said, I spent the last couple of days kind of
trying to duplicate some of these recipes. And I wanted to share with you, while I'm talking about that, some of the wine that we're drinking tonight. This is wine from that vineyard Marcompo. And as you can see, the name of the wine here is Genuino. And that's the chef, the husband chef that is there. And he was the first gentleman who planted the vines on his property. He and his daughter, Claudia, now own the whole shebang that are making this wine. But this is classified as red table wine from Tuscany, and it's 80% Sangiovese grape, which they have a vineyard over near the coast, kind of south of Pisa, of Sangiovese grapes. So that's 80% Sangiovese and 20% Merlot. This is a vintage 2018, so it's got some age on it, and it is really good. And we had a tasting last December, or maybe it was January. Anyway, it was probably the coldest night of the year, where we ordered some wine from Marcompo, and they shipped it all. And we had a tasting of 4 different wines. And it was a great event. And this is one of the last 2 bottles left over from that. So we're going to break that out tonight in honor of being at Volterra Marcompo. So let me just go back now. And let me show you how I assemble all of this together. Hey, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm preparing some ravioli stuffed with fresh ricotta cheese. 3 ingredients as far as the flour goes. I use semolina flour, and it's got a high gluten content, a little more elastic than all-purpose flour, and it's 200 grams of that, or about 1 cup. I use 200 grams of all-purpose flour, or about 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And then finally I use some bread flour, and I use about 100 grams of that, or about 1/2 cup of bread flour. Put all that together into the blender, and then we'll add the wet ingredients. So the wet ingredients are fairly straightforward. All it is just eggs. And so I'm gonna put 4 whole eggs in here and 3 egg yolks. So 4 whole eggs. Probably a good idea to crack these eggs in a bowl, so I'll make sure I don't get any shells in there. So there's 4 whole eggs. Just so you know, I can't count. There were 4 eggs. I put 1 in there before I put them in the bowl. So there are 4 eggs in there. There's 1 yolk and 2 yolks. So all that goes in the mixer. And I'll let that just mix up until it's all totally combined together. And I'm gonna dump it out or take it out by hand and knead it by hand here for just a moment or two. And I'm gonna leave it like that and put it in the fridge. I think I'll just put it in a baggie here. In the fridge without the baggie being closed. Let it rest for about 30 minutes. You know, they don't have those baggies in Italy. So I've got the pasta out of the fridge. And I'm starting at the widest setting possible and running it through a couple of times. That is, I'm folding it back on top of itself over and over again, just to kind of knead it a bit more. They're much too thick, but So I'm down to a width of 2 right now, and my notes say the optimum range for the pasta I'm making here is on a 6. So I've got quite a bit of working to do. Okay, so here for the filling, it's very simple. I'm gonna grate a little bit of this smoked Gouda cheese. Any kind of smoked cheese is great, and if you could find smoked ricotta here, I would get that, but I can't, so smoked Gouda. And just grated a little bit of it, and that gives it a little smoky taste. And then I have my ricotta that I've already made, a little salt, a little nutmeg. So for the filling, I'm gonna put the ricotta in a bowl. So I have that, some of the smoked Gouda cheese. Mix it up. Add a little sea salt. And I'm gonna grate a little nutmeg in there as well. You can see the nutmeg here. Yeah, that's good. That's a great way to do it. So that's the filling. So let me finish my pasta and add the filling. Okay, I'm getting down to the end now. I'm on 6. Double it once again and run it through a couple more times. Last time, right here. You can see my fingers through it. So it's paper thin, and that's what I'm gonna go with. Now my friends at Volterra and Marcompo, Claudia and her mother Ivana, gosh, they make this stuff fresh almost every day, and they're a whole lot faster than I am with it. But as you can see, it's fairly simple to put together. Fold it over on itself, like so. Press down around all the little cheese balls. And then if you don't have one of these little nifty pasta cutters, you can just use a knife. Cut it rounded. And you end up with a few more. So there you go, voila. So there you have it. I'm gonna double, triple this thing because I've got a lot of dough left, and I can put it in the fridge in a baggie and it'll sit and it'll be ready to drop into some boiling water in the next couple of 3 days. It'll last that long. Okay, my water's boiling. I'm gonna dump in the ravioli, and because it's fresh ravioli, it only let it come to a boil, and as soon as it starts floating, Once it comes to a boil and starts floating, it's done. Sorry, I'm trying to do all this by myself. I'm holding the camera and so about a minute, a little bit more, and they will be done, ready to put on the plate. Okay, so the pasta's done. I'm plating it. And a little bit of the tomato sauce. Should be it. Buon appetito. And now back at. Hey, listen, we've had a good time here so far. We've had a whole antipasti course we didn't film. We've had one course of primi. We've had one course of primi we didn't even film. But now we're doing the second course of primi, which is the pappardelle cingale here.
That's with the whole right over you. And let us get a picture of it. Now you ordered me lobster, right?
Go. Hey, listen, we've had a lot to eat tonight here already at Ristorante DelDuca. We've had 3 courses. This is our 3rd course here, and it's the pappardelle with cingale, which is wild boar sauce. And Jill here hates wild boar. She never knows what wild boar is. What do you think, huh?
It's delicious. It tastes like pork.
It
It's
tastes like
delicious.
pork.
Look,
Yeah?
second.
What do you think, Sharon?
The noodles are so fresh.
The noodles, the pasta is fresca, pasta fresca. Now, what do you think about the wine here? It's Marcompo wine. It's from the vineyard just outside of town. 100% Sangiovese. No, sorry. It's 50% Sangiovese and 50% Merlot. Made by my friend Genuino. What do you think? You like it? Salute. That's Jill and Sharon there. Oh, shut up. Hey, listen here. We going? Hey, David McGuffin here. We're having Genuino's wine here, and this is 100% Merlot wine from a vineyard about 3 miles away here called Giusto alle Balze. What do you think, Shane? Let's try it. Here, let's taste it.
Let's taste it.
Salute. Molto bene. Even learned a little Italian. I was here a few years back with a choir from Florida, Niceville, Florida. We had lunch, then they sang the show.
Who be a witness for my Lord? Who be a witness for my Lord? Who will be a witness for my Lord?
Oh, I'll be a witness for my Lord. 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 There was a man of the Pharisees. His name was Nicodemus, and he didn't believe. The same came to
David. Bene.
Nice to see you all. Hope you will enjoy the meal, and I'll be here around, and probably my father is coming later on because yesterday we finished with the Sangiovese harvest, so he's very busy in the wine cellar.
The liver pate and the mousse of pepperine.
So this is special homemade pasta by the chef.
Rather warmly.
He does it every day, rolls it out and cuts it by hand. And the cingale sauce. We've had a fantastic dining experience here tonight at Ristorante DelDuca in Volterra, my favorite go-to place in all of Europe. So your adventure starts here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
Now, just around the corner is my favorite wine. I've got a lot of footage from this, but I'm only sharing this because we go down into the caves and have a wine tasting with my best friend there, Francesco.
Good evening to everybody. Hi. Very small group, so please, if you have questions, ask me. It's much more fun if we talk.
I've met 3 sommeliers in Italy. 2 of them are good friends of mine. And so they have a specific way in which they say that you should experience the wine.
The most important things is what you do, the taste.
The way that we think of a lot is to smell the wine. But for most of the Italian sommeliers, they say smelling doesn't work so well because we humans have poor noses.
And usually, yes, you use the nose, but you use my mouth. Also, human nose doesn't work. Really doesn't. Is why I think that we have to help our nose try to understand the possibility of the smell before. And to do this, we have to use our eyes.
So we have good eyes, so we can look at the wine and talk about and think about the color and the viscosity of the wine.
When you see a wine like this, then at the beginning move fast, but stop to move really fast too. You see, it doesn't move for a very long time. Boom! Probably the body is important.
We had 4 different wines. We had a white wine from the village of San Gimignano, which was fantastic white wine. And then we had a Chianti Classico, a super Tuscan wine. Then we had Brunello, which was the last wine. And by far, with everyone who have tasted wine with me, the Brunello was the go-to wine for them. So I have a journal that I keep. I try to, when we go through Tuscany, devote 1 page to tasting wine tastings and what I enjoyed and what was good. So I try to take notes and learn something new all the time, add something to my my knowledge of that so I can pass it on to those who travel with me.
Be careful if you have a big nose.
Once you experience a wine tasting with Francesco there in Volterra, every time since that, everyone starts looking at the wine, dipping the glass, looking at the wine. What color is it? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Everyone is more educated on tasting wine.
From Volterra, Italy, deep in the wine cave at La Vene di Vino, this is David McGuffin and Francesco saying your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
La sua avventura inizia qua con David McGuffin, Exploring Europe.
Salute.
Salute.
Okay, well, that was a pretty good dip into my best memories in Volterra. Like I said, I've been going there. That first cooking class was 2008. I think my first time there was in 2006 or 5, and I've been going ever since. So if I have a favorite town and a place I want to call home in Italy, that would be it. If someone asked me to give me an address to send something to, I'll send it to one of the places I know there in Volterra. So that's the deal there. A couple of questions have been raised over tonight, either on Facebook or here on Zoom about vaccinations and being and traveling overseas. And I'm a big proponent of being vaccinated. And I'll just come right out there and say that. Charlotte and I, Charlotte, my wife, and I were at a travel and trade show in March of 2019 in Washington, D.C. And that was at the very outset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nothing was really known so much about that. And so we were there at the trade show, and we were there Friday or Saturday and Sunday. We flew home Sunday night. And by Wednesday, I had the first symptoms of COVID-19. And at that point, there wasn't a whole lot of testing going on. As a matter of fact, there were no testing sites at all. And so I just assumed I had COVID-19. And 2 days later, Charlotte, my wife, had the symptoms. And the following week, they opened up the first testing center in our area in Jacksonville, North Florida. And I think she was like number 5 or 6 in our county that was documented as having COVID-19. It was a very 24-hour event for us. And as soon as we were able to get vaccinated in 2020, we did. So we were vaccinated in March and April and have been fully vaccinated ever since. And when the boosters come out, we're going to get that as well. So I really, really promote being vaccinated, because having that card, as I mentioned earlier, gives you a lot of clout as far as traveling in Europe. You can pull it out and show it, and you don't have to worry about being turned away at a restaurant or a museum or anything. And so that's what we go for. We've had, I was just trying to count in my head, probably between 60 and 70 people that have traveled with us over the last few months on our tours. The tours have been in Greece, in Italy, and in Ireland. And of those tours, we had, I think, only 3 people that were traveling without vaccinations. And they had a little complications actually getting out of the United States and into Greece, but it all worked out and everything was fine. But although I'm not going to require a vaccine today, it is certainly going to be beneficial for you. So some of you are traveling in the next couple of weeks to Italy with me. And if you're not vaccinated, which I know you're not because you've already told me you are, but if those are not vaccinated who want to come into Italy, they still have to do a 5-day quarantine once they get to Italy. So it's not even worth going on a trip to Italy on that. So get your vaccines, be fully vaccinated, wear a mask when you need to, and we'll all have a great time. So that's my show for tonight. Next week, we'll be dealing with the main capital area of Tuscany, and that's Florence. And we were there in July, just this past year, just a few months ago. And so we're going to chronicle all the new stuff that's going on in Florence with that. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much. Have a great time. Thanks for watching Travel Talk Tuesday, and we'll see you next week, 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Bye now. Ciao.